Welcome, everybody. Sorry about the technical difficulties. You know, all of this new technical and adventures that we're doing, it's fun and exciting, but yet it has its challenges too. So thank you all for bearing with us and just trying to, make do with what we've got here. So I have put a couple things in the chat on the one side up there. That's got the actual survey link, and it's also got the Twitter and Facebook handles. So we would really hope that at the end of the session that you will take the time to fill out the survey and at least just kind of let us know what you liked and what you didn't like about the conference and the sessions and things like that. So it's really important that we have that feedback from you. So although this is new for us at the association, we're hearing good and positive things. And so that's kind of nice. But I am Michelle Choggish. I am the Director of Programs at the Michigan Works Association. I'm really excited to be here and to be facilitating this workshop session with you. Just a couple of things that I also wanted you to know is your session is being sponsored by CVS Health. We are super happy that we had great and gracious sponsors and exhibitors this year that really helped us pull this conference off. So without them, we really could not have done any of this of what we're doing. So we really give a great big shout out to them. You are actually in a session called Returning Citizens, A Second Chance at Success. So if you're not supposed to be in this session or didn't want this session, then this will be your opportunity to maybe slide out. But we have a couple of speakers today. I'm not sure, we're having some problems. Like I said, right now we have Lynn Wood. Thank you, Lynn, for being here. Lynn is a school principal. I also have Nicole Sawyers coming. She's Vital Document Specialist with the Department of Corrections. Dean McGregor, Vocational Specialist with the Department of Corrections. And then Ryan Powell, who's the Manager, Offender Employment and Opportunities Unit with the Department of Corrections. So they will be your speakers and presenters today, hopefully, once we can get them all in. But right now, we have Lynn. And so, Lynn, I'm going to let you take it away, and I'm going to hop off here so that I can see if I can help the others get on, if that's okay with you.
That's fine.
Okay, we're going to hold questions until the end, but I will be monitoring the chat. So please go ahead and put whatever questions you've got in the chat, and at the end we'll go through and try and make sure we answer all of them. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. Okay, so I'm Lynn Wood. I'm a principal at 3 of the prisons in Jackson for the Department of Corrections. And the other 3 people in this group who are supposed to be here all work remotely from home. As you can see, I have a mask on because I am inside a prison, and that is our mandatory protocol, is that we have a mask on at all times. So I'll try to speak clearly, but if you're having trouble with something, we do have PowerPoints, and you can always ask for a repeat, I guess. So I was actually supposed to be the last presenter of today, but I'm going to bring the PowerPoint up, and I'm going to be the first because we're trying to get the other 3 people on. And like I said, they're working remotely from home. And so I think they're having some difficulties that for whatever reason I haven't had. So let's see. I'm going to try to get this going here.
All right. Well, sorry for all the technical difficulties, everybody. My name's Ryan Powell, and I'm the manager of the Michigan Department of Corrections Offender Employment and Opportunities Unit. You are in the session, Returning Citizens, A Second Chance at Success. There's going to be 4 areas that we cover today in our presentation. It's going to be workforce development efforts statewide, prisoner education, vital documents, and the impact of COVID-19 on MDOC education. We ask, that you maybe save your questions till the end, and then there's a power with everybody's contact information. If there's something after the conference that you have questions about, want to reach out to anybody, you can feel free to do that at any time. So to get started, the first presentation I'm going to talk about the MDOC statewide job development. The Offender Employment and Opportunities Unit's role. So my team's role, we develop relationships and partnerships with employers across all 10 regions for career type of employment opportunities for the returning citizen population. Some of the things that we try to focus on are $10 plus an hour jobs that have benefits and retirement programs, future advancement and promotion opportunities, registered apprenticeship programs, and places that have a great work environment that our population can just integrate into and work there for the long term. We work on developing a point of contact with each of our administrative agencies and field operations administration offices to allow them to attend new employer meetings with us. It gives us somebody that we can send these employment opportunities out to screen and recruit potential returning citizens that can work for these employers, and discuss qualified returning citizens for specific employment opportunities, looking at specific skills at each job and things of that nature. We also work with Field Operations Administration to connect the job-ready returning citizens to career employment opportunities. When we send out our job bulletins, and I'll talk about this in a little bit, the returning citizen must be job ready. So we basically have two avenues that they can go once they are out in the community. And they can be referred directly to us for the employment opportunities that we've secured, or they can be routed via a referral to our administrative agencies for an employment readiness program if they were not able to go through that while they were incarcerated, to get them ready for work, develop resumes, cover letters, anything that they may need help with, and need like kind of that little bit of extra help before we refer them to a job. We want to make sure that these candidates are ready to go. And, we also work with a lot of our Michigan Works across the state. And some of our admin agencies are actually Michigan Works agencies as well. So we're really working together with Michigan Works on those efforts, making sure that they have all the tools and resources that they need to be successful once we place them in a job. So if they already have all of those things, then the Field Operations Administration, parole and probation agents can refer those candidates directly to us for the job opportunities. The other option is working with our offender success administrative agencies to connect the job-ready returning citizens to those employment opportunities as well. This would be the agent doing a referral to the admin agency to get that person enrolled in employment readiness, whether it's with Michigan Works or a resume writing class with Michigan Works, or maybe a standalone program that they have with a job developer or an employment staff that works directly for them, to really kind of check off the boxes that they need to become job ready and gain those hard and soft skills that they need to, enter the workforce. When we secure these employment opportunities, we notify FOA and the admin agency's point of contact where the job opportunities are available. We don't want to get randomly sent names from the parole agents of people that need a job. They have that referral process that they can follow. They only send us returning citizens that have notified their point of contact about a specific job opportunity. They must be job ready. They must meet all the specific job qualifications, and also take into consideration working non-career types of jobs that want a better opportunity. So we're really kind of looking at the whole population as a whole when we're doing this. We also work with our Vocational Village programs on job placement efforts. So at both of our vocational villages, and I'll talk about this a little bit more later in the PowerPoint, but we have job developers at both of our vocational villages, and soon to be at the Women's Huron Valley Vocational Village, that are working with these individuals before they leave. My team works with those job developers to help with job placement when available and when they need assistance with that. These are specific to skilled trades jobs for Vocational Village graduates at Richard Hanlon and Parnell Correctional Facilities. And in the near future, hopefully Women's Huron Valley as well, once that gets online and we finish the construction phase. There is a pre-parole employment verification process. So if a graduate of one of our Vocational Village programs gains employment before they leave, we have a documented process that we follow to hand off that information to the parole and probation agents, to our administrative agencies, and really any partners that are helping with the Vocational Village efforts, to show where the person was placed into work, where they may need assistance with work tools or any kind of supportive services that they may need. We identify all of that information on this pre-parole employment verification process so that everybody can kind of ensure that that person goes to that job that they have accepted while they were incarcerated, and make sure that there's no transportation barriers, make sure that we're, kind of checking all the boxes to make sure that they get to work and they're successful while they're there. When it comes to the employer outreach, so far, and this has been over the last 4 or 5 years, we've met with over 800 employers across the state. Over 700 of these employers are willing to work with us and notify us when they have vacancies within their company. With each of those partners, we put together a job bulletin that includes all of the employer information, including the company name, the work location and address, the positions that are available to returning citizens, the shift hours, the hiring requirements, the starting pay, then also if there's benefits or any other kind of package available for those positions, and then also career advancement opportunities as well. And those job bulletins are what goes out to our field operations administration staff and also our administrative agencies in the areas that we have job developers doing that work. We develop a process with each employment partner to notify them of qualified returning citizens from the vocational villages, from our career technical education programs that are non-vocational village, individuals that worked at our MSI factories that may have factory work experience, and then also just general parole and probation. Didn't go through a career technical education program while they're incarcerated, but have now checked all the boxes, are ready for work, and we're working on placing them as well. We developed a system for tracking employers that we have a partnership with. We attend and set up booths at job fairs to network with new employers, kind of do the opposite of what the job seekers are doing, kind of go around, tell them what we can do to help them find talent, and just kind of build those relationships while we're there. We also make sure that we notify and explain the hiring incentives for the returning citizen population, and those would be the work opportunity tax credit and the fidelity bonding program. We've actually developed a pretty cool process over the last year with the Talent Investment Agency and Michael Pruce, where I can complete the paperwork if the employment opportunity is contingent on them being bonded. So we're kind of taking a step out of there for the employer, and we can complete the process for them and get that person bonded. And so far, I think we've bonded about 14 individuals over the last 6 months. So that's been a positive effort there as well. The offender success and the services that are available to returning citizens. So I talked about this a little bit earlier, but our administrative agencies are able to provide wraparound and supportive services to the returning citizen population. And it varies anywhere from housing to transitional housing, employment or job placement services, social supports, and health behavioral health services. For this webinar specifically, it's more along the lines of the social supports like transportation assistance, and then the job readiness, job placement services that we offer. There's potential to purchase work tools if they are contingent on the person starting work with that employer, and work clothing, work boots, those kind of things. So we're really trying to look at everything possible to make sure that this person is successful as we place them into employment. And then we also are doing larger hiring events. And unfortunately, due to COVID-19, we've had to cancel and postpone all of our hiring events for this year. In fiscal year 19, we did 2 larger hiring events, one in Oakland County and one in Wayne County. And combined, there was over 150 returning citizens that were hired directly as a result of those hiring events. We had over 300 interviews that were set up and 150 individuals that received employment opportunities. So for fiscal year 20, we were looking to expand those efforts and host larger hiring events with many of our partners in Oakland, Wayne, Macomb, Genesee, and Kent counties. But as I mentioned, unfortunately, we had to postpone and cancel those events due to COVID-19. And we'll look at picking those back up in this coming spring in March of 2021. So kind of moving on to the vocational village. Currently, we have 2 vocational villages that are up and operating, and those are at the Richard Hanlon Correctional Facility in Ionia and the Parnell Correctional Facility in Jackson, Michigan. The student population, the population comes from all over the state and transfers to those facilities as they're screened and kind of placed into those trades opportunities. The 4 largest counties of returning potential employees are Wayne County, Kent County, Genesee County, and Oakland County. We have 160 student capacity at the Richard Hanlon facility in Ionia and a 240 student capacity at the Parnell Vocational Village in Jackson. Some of the trades that are offered are, we have our building trades, plumbing and electrical, and carpentry programs. We have a virtual and traditional welding program. We have a virtual and traditional CNC machine shop and program. We have automotive at both of the facilities. We have a masonry concrete program, FANUC robotics certification that they can receive, a tree trimming program that's partnered with the DTE program. We do a CDL truck driving program with a CDL simulator. We have a computer coding class, and then we also offer a high-low forklift certificate for all students that are in any trade as a second certificate that they can fall back on if they don't get in their core trade. Some of the requirements to get into the Vocational Village is they must be within 15 to 18 months of parole discharge to be able to enter into the Vocational Village program. They cannot have any institutional misconduct within the previous 24-month period. And they have to sign a contract stating that they're willing to transfer for the trade and may have limited visitation during the training week so that they can focus on their training efforts. Some of the soft skills training that we offer in the Vocational Villages is part of our employment readiness course. The instructor goes over the following areas. They go through resume writing, goal setting, conflict resolution, interviewing, workplace communication and etiquette, and students earn the Microsoft Digital Literacy and FDIC Money Smart certifications as part of that employment readiness program. The job developers that I had mentioned earlier that are at the Vocational Villages, the job developer works to connect students with jobs in their paroling county. They complete the pre-parole employment verification forms and pass those on to our institutional parole agents and facility coordinators that help with the transition through our transition team meetings and our in-reach meetings at the facility as the individuals or the students are paroling out the doors. There's a career counseling through the use of interest and aptitude assessment career scope, and we ensure that the students have virtual documents in order that are necessary for employment, such as their birth certificates and social security cards. And Nicole will talk about a little bit more in depth about the vital documents piece of this later in the presentation. The Vocational Village pre-parole employment verification process. The job developer completes the pre-parole employment form, and it includes the employer name, the hiring supervisor and their contact information, start date, hourly wages, wraparound supportive services that are needed for them to be successful in the employment opportunity that they're going to. The institutional parole agent and facility coordinator complete the in-reach meeting, 2-week post-release plan, and completes all required referrals for the wraparound and supportive services before the individuals walk out the prison doors. And then there's the field supervision piece where the individuals will be on parole for a 2-year period, where they'll be undergoing drug and alcohol screenings, making sure that they're following the conditions of their parole. And then if they need any other services that are available to them while they're on parole, if a need comes up, the agent can do a referral to our administrative agencies for those services. And that wraps up my part of the presentation. I'm not sure if Dean is on yet. Oh, there Dean is. Okay. So I'll hand it over to Dean now.
All right. Hey, Ryan, are you going to be able to flip through this? Do you have control of it?
I do.
I do not.
Okay. My name is Dean McGregor. I'm the vocational specialist for the department. I assist all of our vocational trades instructors statewide in regards to their curriculum development, equipment purchases, basically just about anything that in their needs in regards to the vocational trades programs. We have 16 vocational trades programs with roughly 80 plus instructors statewide across all of our correctional facilities. Our statewide initiative for prisoner education when it came to vocational trades was to implement new demand-driven trades within our correctional facilities. We needed to provide some type of vocational counseling in regards to our offenders who are interested in taking our trades. We do a interest and aptitude test with our employment counselors at our facilities, and also our instructors will have conversations with the potential students regarding their interest aptitudes. We're looking at also their county of placement, where they're going to be paroling to. We go through a history in regards to what possible other certifications they had prior to incarceration. So we really do a vetting process in regards to making sure we get the right prisoner in the right program at the right time. Once they've completed the vocational counseling process, we place them, and they have an interest in aptitudes for vocational trade, we place them on a statewide waiting list. From that statewide waiting list, we look to offenders that are within 2 years of their earliest release date to place them into a program for our vocational village. In particular, like Ryan said, we're looking at that about 15-month mark to try to place those with individuals within our vocational village programs. We also looked at creating and expanding our vocational village concept. Like Ryan said, our Richard Hanlon Correctional Facility was opened in 2016. We saw a lot of success with that. So we again initiated another vocational village down at our Parnell Correctional Facility in Jackson in 2017. And then our Huron Valley Women's Correctional Facility is set to open hopefully later this year in 2020. COVID obviously had an effect in regards to the opening date of that. So we're still pushing forward and planning on having an opening later this year. We revamped and looked at our employment readiness and workforce development program. Our employment readiness programs taught at all of our correctional facilities, like Ryan had just said also. The preparation, resume writing, they do Microsoft Digital Literacy, Money Smart, a lot of soft skill preparation with inside that program. And then our last documentation was in regards to vital documents. Nicole will touch base on this, but we do workforce development packets where our offenders have all of our certifications that they completed within their vocational trades programs throughout their incarceration. And we're also looking at getting their state IDs, birth certificates, and any other vital docs inside those workforce development packets. Our vocational village concept, when we were designing this, prisoners will compete to participate. What they end up doing is they fill out an application. They're screened in regards to our criteria for placement into that program. We have set criteria in regards to the types of individuals, in regards to tickets, behavior throughout their incarceration that we're looking at when we're screening those applicants, and then they'll complete an application to do that. Those applications are screened on in our central office location by Education Administration. I'm one of those individuals that does the screening on those. Since COVID had taken place, we've actually instituted this next new process, which is an interview process. We've had such good success in regards to our teams meetings that we decided that once we've made the selection in regards to possible or potential applicants for our vocational village, we set up an interview process via Microsoft Teams where myself and about 4 other individuals will actually sit down and interview the offender. We get a better perspective in regards to the offender's interests and aptitudes for those vocational programs, and we were actually instituting a little bit more reassurance in regards to the offender that what we expect out of them when they're taking our vocational village programs. We hold the individuals that are in our vocational programs to a higher standard, and we expect them to comply with everything that we're offering them at the vocational village. Prisoners do live in dedicated housing units. We try to simulate a full day work schedule inside the vocational village the best we can. That's roughly a 6.5-hour work day. They go to school together, they go to lunch together, they go to breakfast together. Everything is done together. We try to have all people of like minds and interests that are willing to succeed within a housing unit. We also have our Pell Grant students, which are housed within the same housing unit with our vocational village, and we found that to be successful in regards to individuals that might be struggling a little bit with some of their studies in class can utilize some of the Pell Grant students to help assist with some of their studies back in the units. We do employer job fairs and tours to show all of our programs. We're constantly, that's probably been the most successful thing within all of our vocational villages, is being able to get employers into the facilities to actually see the programs, see the equipment that we purchase. the feedback that I get in regards to that from the employers is they didn't realize the amount of investment that we've actually put into those programs. It's one thing to talk about it, but when you actually see it and you can see that we're using the same equipment that they're using in the industry today to train our individuals on, they're very impressed with that. Not only that, the opportunity to be able to talk to the offenders as they're going through on the tours to work on the equipment and have that conversation with the offenders has been very positive. Job developers work directly with employers and students to facilitate job interviews while still incarcerated. We are doing our best in regards to that right now. We don't have people coming into the facility, but we're trying to set up in regards to Microsoft Teams, phone interviews and so forth, so we can connect the returning offenders to the employer. And our goal is always 100% employment out of our vocational village. That's a high goal that we have set for ourselves. But we continuously strive to create that. Our vocational village at our Women's Huron Valley Correctional Facility, construction is almost complete. We've renovated 8,000 square feet of existing space, and we completed 12,000 square feet of a new construction. In addition to the space at vocational village programs below, the project also includes an outstanding area for school office suites and conference rooms where we can hold meetings with outside employers. And not only that, we can have we'll have monitors set up down there for Skype interviews for all the offenders who have potential employment opportunities. When we're looking at doing programs down there, we had existing programs already in place, which is our carpentry, our horticulture program, and our food technology program. We actually surveyed the population down there to try to gauge an interest of what some of the programs are that they would be interested in. We also took off of some of the positives that we gotten from our employers as they've done tours at our other villages and the interest that we had off of them. We came up with all these programs that you see within here. So obviously we had our carpentry program already that was down there, which our students do NCCR and Osha 30. We came up with a new one, which is our 3D printing program, which is Stratus Additive Manufacturing Program. We have robotics and FANUC that is tied in with our 3D printing program. Another new program down there is cosmetology. Our offenders will complete that program and become licensed cosmetologists. We have commercial truck driving, which has been very successful at our other correctional facilities. We have horticulture, food technology, forklift operation. Forklift operation is a stackable credential inside all of our vocational village programs. So an offender that might be within carpentry, 3D printing, or any of the other vocational trades, there's a requirement that they complete forklift operation as well before they can be completed within their vocational trade. Then we obviously have our employment readiness and workforce development program down there as well. Our 3D printing program, which is absolutely one of our newest programs that we have. We work with Stratus Additive Manufacturing, where students will learn about digital fabrication with a full overview of manufacturing industry and related technologies. They're going to learn computer-aided design. Within the computer-aided design, we had a lot of conversations with some current employers in regards to the software packages that they're using, and SolidWorks is our design software that we're using for that program. It actually ties in with our FANUC robotics certification as well. As if anybody's looked out within the industry within Michigan right now, there's not a lot of 3D printing employment opportunities out there, but the SolidWorks software component is very big within the industry right now. So being able to understand and be certified within that certification gives us an added advantage for finding employment for our offenders once they're released. We do fabricate 3D. They'll fabricate 3D objects and experience advance in limitations of 3D printing technology in the terms of precision, resolution, and material capabilities. They'll actually get a certification, a nationally recognized certification in Stratus Additive Manufacturing. Then we tied in our FANUC robotics certification within that program, where our students will get levels 1 and 2 FANUC IR version within FANUC robotics. Cosmetology was probably when we did our survey with our population down there, that was the biggest request in regards to a vocational trade. This is a very interesting trade to try to start up with inside a correctional facility. We've worked with Laura, Licensing and Regulatory Affairs, where we will actually be a licensed cosmetology school. We have a licensed cosmetology instructor that we've hired. We have a classroom and a lab set up. All offenders who complete the cosmetology program will be required to complete the 1,500 hours of clock hours within that program to become potential licensed cosmetologist. They'll also, we're going to have Laura come in and administer the state examination for a licensed cosmetologist. Our food technology program was an existing program that we had down there. Students gain knowledge in hotel and food service operations. We emphasize the safety and sanitation and hospitality within that program. Supplemental studies will focus in on lodging, nutrition, and catering. We received national certification from the National Restaurant Association. Students become certified in the START, which is skilled task and results training. They'll receive Serve Safe Manager training. And then in more advanced training is the Pro Start Level 1 and Pro Start Level 2 certification. We've also partnered with the Michigan National Restaurant Association, and our offenders will, if they complete the Pro Start Level 1 and Level 2 certification, we can get them registered with the Michigan National Restaurant Association within their apprenticeship program, and they can continue on with that after release. Our horticulture program was an existing program that we had down there as well. The horticulture program is a program where students will learn skills related to the field of horticulture. Students learn the fundamentals of plant science, soil nutrition, plant propagation, pest management. Further studies include hydroponics, landscape contractor, nursery, and garden retail. We've actually partnered with Michigan Department of Agriculture, where we'll administer the pesticide certifications, where offenders have an option to pick within 7 categories of the pesticide to become a registered pesticide applicator. Then we've also partnered with the Michigan Landscape and Nursery Association, where our individuals can complete the examination within that and become a certified green industry professional. Our commercial truck driving program, we actually have 2 simulators down at the Women's Huron Valley Correctional Facility. The Cdl program provides employment training and development specific to transportation industry, which will enable successful entry into a career in professional truck driving. Our program our books are right what we get from the Department of State within Cdl certification. They do virtual instructions using simulators. They receive powered industrial the forklift certification within the program. We partner with local trucking companies, which we've had a lot of employers express interest in hiring our female offenders upon release. So this was a very popular program at our other facilities, and it's going to be a very popular program at the women's facility as well. Our offenders actually are going to be able to take a commercial learner's permit, which is the CLP with the Department of State. That's their first step within completing that program. And then after they've completed that, they'll partner with the trucking company when they're out, and they can finish up the remaining of the CDL portion for on-the-road testing with the local partnering company. Our carpentry program was, again, an existing program that we had down there. Students are given instructions in the basic competencies such as safety, construction, math, blueprint reading, the proper use of hand and power tools, and then progress in the carpentry program. In the carpentry model, students learn floor, wall, roof framing, as well as instruction on door and window installation. Our certification programs with that are with NCCR, which is National Center for Construction, Education, and Research. We also provide our OSHA 30 training. With the OSHA 30 training, that was something that we, with our partners, with having employers come into the facility, they asked us in regards to upping our ante in regards to that. We always offered OSHA 10, and they said OSHA 30 would be more beneficial to our offenders when they're coming out. So that was something that we implemented about 2 years ago, where we had all of our instructors go to training, and so they're certified to provide OSHA 30 training to our offenders. Another unique situation with our carpentry program, from having employers come in, is we've actually partnered with our local carpenters union, and what we have is a curriculum piece where we've incorporated a portion of their curriculum with inside of our curriculum. So by us doing that, they've offered up employment opportunities for offenders that we've recommended to go to them to finish out an apprenticeship program for them. So we'll teach a portion of their program inside our correctional facility. When they're out, they can go and we'll finish up the remaining portion of the apprenticeship program with the Carpenters Union. Promoting the Vocational Village, we do annual open houses. We do employer service provided tours at our Vocational Village. We do a lot of presentations by education staff to promote the Vocational Village. We have huge support from our governor in regards to the program and future programs in regards to possible expansions and other vocational training opportunities that we might be able to provide at our villages. We develop public and private sector understanding of the Vocational Village Training Program and workforce development inside the prisons. We identify marketable skills and training curricula to address current employment demands. And MDOC is always open to expansion based on employer needs. And to emphasize on that, we specifically have an open space left down at the women's facility, and we did that pretty much on purpose because we found success with our Parnell Village, where we had an open space, and that's how we ended up developing our partnership with DTE Energy and IBEW in regards to the line clearance tree trim program. They were impressed with what we were offering. They had a need in regards to employment, so we partnered with them in regards to that training program. We like to try to do the same thing down at our women's facility with the open space that we have down there, where we'll get employers in, they'll see what we're doing, and we can potentially develop a partnership with another employer that way. I think that's the end of mine, Nicole.
Okay. Hi, everybody. My name is Nicole Sawyers. I am the Vital Document Specialist for the department. I'm just going to do a quick overview of birth certificates, Social Security cards, and a new program that we actually just started yesterday. So birth certificates are typically started at the reception center when the offender first comes in, but we can typically do them at any time during their incarceration. If we happen not to do them at the reception center, they'll be completed at the receiving facility. Birth certificates come at no cost to the offender. The department will pay for the birth certificate for an offender, regardless of whether it's their first birth certificate or their second birth certificate. It doesn't matter, the department will pay for it. A birth certificate can be obtained from any state in the U.S., including some foreign birth certificates. If they were born overseas on a U.S. military base, we can obtain a certified birth certificate from the U.S. Department of State. If they were not born on a U.S. military base overseas, unfortunately, we are not able to get a birth certificate for those offenders. Social Security cards, those are typically completed at the time of the offender's parole board interview. We have a memorandum of understanding with the Social Security Administration where we can only process the Social Security card applications once an offender is within 120 days of parole or discharge. So we have a limited timeline on those. If an offender has multiple Social Security numbers associated with their name, we are unable to process an application for them. This is due also to our memorandum of understanding with the Social Security Administration. The Social Security Administration requires that they report in person to obtain their card because of the multiple numbers. They want to make sure it's the correct person that is associated with that Social Security number. In regards to state IDs and driver's licenses, in July of 2016, we actually started a collaboration between us and the Michigan Department of State. The departments began a mobile unit to assist offenders in obtaining their state ID or driver's license. This process involved putting packets together for the Michigan Department of State. It contained bunch of different documents, including their birth certificate. It contained an ID application, a copy of their prisoner ID, and other documents. This process was a step forward for both of our departments. Both of our departments had really wanted to put together a program where we could assist offenders in obtaining these documents. However, this process was very limiting because we were only able to do what we called 4 rounds each year. We were only able to get Secretary of State to go to 4 different facilities each year because their mobile unit was so busy every year that they could only go to 4 facilities each year. So what ended up happening was that we were very limited in only being able to do 400 offenders each year. To reach more offenders, both departments have been working for actually over the last year to upstart a new process. This process is now called the Returning Citizens Identification Card Program. To start this process, the MDOC had each facility obtain a birth certificate for every offender possible in their facility in June and July of 2020. So basically what we did was we had everybody essentially shut down and everybody in the facility in the schools have all of their teachers, employment counselors get together and assist every single offender in the facility in obtaining their birth certificate, because in order to get their state ID or driver's license, they have to have a copy of their birth certificate. So in order to do this, this would allow every offender to participate in the new program. We also ordered digital cameras and blue backdrops for every facility. This was required because instead of the Secretary of State coming into each facility, this would allow our employment counselors to take the pictures and they would upload them into a secure transfer service and upload them to Secretary of State where they would download the packet. So starting in August, the program began at 2 facilities as a soft opening. At the end of August, we added 2 more facilities to the program. Each facility put together packets and they uploaded the packet along with the offender's picture that was taken to a secure server, which is called FTS, that Secretary of State downloaded from. Each facility will be responsible for creating a packet and uploading that packet to Secretary of State at the time of the offender's parole board interview. This program actually goes live today. We had our official training for this yesterday. So we're going live today. Everything will start at the parole board interview. Everybody is very excited about this and it has been a lot of work for each department, but each department is very excited. The director is excited, the governor is excited. So we're happy to get this program started. And I think that's all I have. Lynn?
Hi, my name is Lynn Wood. I'm a principal in Jackson at 3 facilities. You guys can all see our focus is to get our offenders ready for release and to have them be successful. So education is a big part of that. Inside all the facilities, we have academic classes, employment readiness, and resume workshop classes. As Dean has mentioned, vocational trade programs are at several other facilities. He talked about the vocational villages, but we do have vocational trades at some other facilities as well. Most of the time, these classes, doesn't even matter which one you're looking at, would run at about 15 students per class, sometimes more. And movement for the classes, especially the vocational programs, would be made based on what the student needs. Now, things have changed a lot over the past several months. So COVID has made things much more difficult to get those transfers in place and even to run programs. So now we have 2 scenarios for our COVID. A little bit of overview. We have facilities without COVID and we have facilities with COVID. So whether or not a facility has COVID or COVID outbreak determines what they're able to do educationally. So facilities that don't have any COVID and they haven't had any COVID continue to run classes, all those classes that the academic and employment readiness through the vital docs, all the vocational trades. but they have to incorporate social distancing. So the class sizes are no longer at 15 or more. They're much smaller based on the size of the class. And classes also have been rearranged to cohort the housing units that the prisoners are living in. We still continue to GD test, TABE test, career scope test at those facilities. Everything's just kind of at a smaller scale. Now, facilities that have, excuse me, have a COVID outbreak, some of those classes, at least during the outbreak, have been canceled. Some schools were actually off limits to staff because they were repurposed as COVID housing units. So there was no way that school staff were even allowed in the building. And so obviously they weren't doing education classes at that time. And some of them are still in that situation. So those educational staff work in the mailroom, the warehouse, the chow hall, wherever they're needed as the facility goes through that process of getting the COVID taken care of. Now, some of our facilities have already went through COVID and they're recovering and gradually phasing back into running programs. It's a long process. So education has really had to adapt because we're not running anything like we used to, even at non-COVID facilities. So once COVID hit, there were some changes with COVID protocol being put in place, and non-MDOC employees automatically were not allowed to be inside the facilities. So as you heard, vocational villages and things like that created problems with tours and with interviews for jobs and things like that. Some MDOC schools have not even allowed to have prisoners come over to the school for call outs. And as Nicole mentioned, we've had this big birth certificate push for the ID project. Even those COVID facilities had to do that. So the focus then became working with a variety of staff, going to housing units, and dealing with each of these individuals to gain their birth certificate information and have them sign the appropriate documents so that we could process that. It's challenging. We're still getting things done though. Now, one of the big things that we have at many of our facilities, actually 10 of our facilities, have on-site college classes. So if an offender qualifies for college, then they can enroll in the college program of their choice that's at the facility. Or in the past, they would move them to the correct facility so they could have that program. Again, there's roadblocks, and that all is taking a lot longer to get taken care of. Our biggest partner in on-site college education, though, is Jackson College, and they run 7 facilities. In the spring semester, they had over 500 students enrolled, and they offer associates in arts, business administration, associates in applied science, business administration certificate. And they actually run at 2 out of the 3 of my prisons. Delta College is at Saginaw Correctional Facility. They offer an associate's degree in business entrepreneurship. Mott Community College is at the Thumb Correctional Facility, and they offer an associate's degree in social work technician and associates in business management. Calvin College is at the Hanlon Correctional Facility, and they can offer an associate's degree in faith community leadership, and they're the only one currently that offers a bachelor's degree that is in faith and community leadership with a minor in social work. I anticipate that will change, and we will have more coming on soon that will offer that 4-year degree. But on-site college is a real collaboration between the college and the Department of Education or Department of Corrections Education section. And prior to COVID, on-site college really looked like college classroom. You would have the instructor from the university or from the college come in, maybe 2 or 3 times a week. They would have a group of students called out, meet in a classroom, have classroom discussions, work on the board, do assignments, lecture, what have you. Well, once protocols got put in place for COVID-19, none of those instructors were allowed in any of the facilities. Doesn't matter which facility it was, they were not allowed in. And this was the middle of the semester. So we had hundreds of individuals who needed to complete this semester, get their grades, and we had to figure out, just like out in the world with the public schools, we had to figure out how we were going to do this and make it work. And so working with our college partners, we were able to implement a system where the rest of the semester, offenders would be given packets, envelopes with work in it. Basically, they would do work. Educational staff would pick it up and then return it to the college and get more packets until the end of the semester. We were able to finish it out like that, with one exception. One facility, Cooper Street, which is one of mine, did not have any COVID outbreak at all. And so we actually took the pre-calculus and calculus classes at that facility and ran videotaped lectures. We called the offenders out to the classrooms, and they were able to actually watch their instructor teach them those lessons for calculus and pre-calculus. And they finished that semester out in that manner. It worked really well. So for spring semester, which just finished at Cooper Street, we continued to do this format, obviously with more classes and a variety of issues to kind of work through, because space is always an issue there. But we were able to call individuals out and they were able to sit in a classroom, not really with an instructor, but at least they did get to see the lectures in a group format. Most of the facilities had COVID outbreaks though, and we're not able to do that. So they had set up a closed circuit television channel where they played lectures in a loop, and individuals are able to just watch those lectures as needed to get through their class. They also have JPay with their instructors, which is kind of like an email with stamps, and it is monitored. But that way, if they had specific questions, they can contact the college and their instructor and get that taken care of. Prior to COVID, a person in college might have a job and work all morning, have count and lunch, and then work all afternoon, evenings, and weekends, maybe take some classes, do homework in between, recreation whenever they could fit it in, religious activities, things like that. Once COVID protocols got into place, though, their life changed a lot. They still may have their job and work all morning, lunch and count in the midday, work in the afternoon. But now, especially if they're at a CCTV place where they have to watch the lecture on a closed television circuit, they just have to figure out, okay, well, now I've got to watch for my class or classes if they have more than one. And maybe on Tuesday and Thursday, they have a class, and on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, they have another class. So every day they have to watch on this channel 6 at our place to make sure that they are getting their lecture time, and then do their homework, pay their instructor, and go from there. Now, what we did is next semester, at least for Jackson College, all of the classes are going to be Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and they'll loop for 2 days. So there's more opportunity for the individual to see the lecture for their class. The other great thing is this is on the institutional television. So quite honestly, individuals who aren't in college, if they happen to watch it, maybe it'll spark some interest in their future. Maybe they'll think of something that they want to do. But this is how we've accommodated for COVID, and we continue to change as the days go on, not knowing what the future will really bring. And it's important to us to have our education in place for our offenders. We want them to get out and be successful. Education right now looks different on all fronts for us as it does out in the world, but we are still committed to it. And so I think that's it. And it's 11:15. And then
I do see a couple questions in here. I'll go ahead and just kind of take the first one. Rochelle Williams asks, can you explain how your students are connected to receive behavioral health services? Is an assessment conducted prior to release? So individuals that are incarcerated go through behavioral health services throughout their time while they're incarcerated. When they are paroled from prison, there is an assessment that is done within 48 hours in the community to ensure that a continuum of care is in place to help let that individual transition back into the community and get on a treatment plan as well that they were on in prison. It looks like there might have been one other question. I don't know if this one's maybe for Dean, but Linda Scott asked, are people with felonies allowed to obtain cosmetology and social work licenses?
I can answer the cosmetology licenses. Yes, we've actually had a discussion with the director, Laura, and they are working with us in regards to our offenders who complete our program. Laura has a stipulation in there that they have to be of good moral character, and then they need to be interviewed still by the cosmetology board. But we've partnered with them in regards to our offenders who complete our program after we've done our initial screening process. And if they pass the state examination, they could be a licensed cosmetologist. I can't answer your question in regards to the social work license, but the cosmetology is yes.
And it looks like that's all the questions that we have. If anybody has any questions after today's presentation, it looks like the presentation will be available on the Michigan Works website. And you have our contact information, so feel free to reach out to any of us at any given time. And with that, I will just share a little bit of the Vocational Village data before we wrap up today. Probably some of you are data-driven like I am, and just to share the numbers on the Vocational Village pre-COVID, our employment rate was at 67% employed. Return to prison rate was 4.62%. We had 558 graduates that are currently on active parole from the program. We've had 1,040 graduates that have paroled from the Vocational Village since 2016. 353 of the graduates have successfully discharged parole and are no longer under any kind of MDOC supervision. And then 49 graduates have returned to prison, which gives you the 4.62% return to prison rate. So with that, thank you all for your presentation. I don't know, Michelle, if you have anything you want to add before we wrap up.
I just want to say thank you to everybody for sticking it out through the technology issues. And we have an exhibitor and networking break next. So please stay on and do some networking with people. It's a lot of fun, I'm hearing. So thank you and have a great lunch. And we hope to see you back for the rest of the sessions this afternoon.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Michelle.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
everybody.